Can a person truly escape the shadows of the past? Why do old moments return to us while we are in the heart of the present? Why do we feel regret only after change becomes impossible? Are our past mistakes a sign of former ignorance, or simply proof of an inescapable human nature? And were the decisions we made truly ours? Or did time deceive us into thinking we were ever free? Isn't it strange that years can pass, and then suddenly, in a fleeting moment, we remember something so old, and feel regret as if it were born just now? Isn't it madness that we live in the future with our bodies, while our souls still wander the streets of the past? Some say the past never dies, but in truth, it doesn't die because we keep it alive. We breathe it in, we feed it with our memories, giving it enough to keep beating. But what makes a person insist on staring into what can no longer be changed? Is it a late desire for control? Or is it simply that human nature cannot tolerate chaos? So we return to the past, searching for an illusory order to events we weren't ready for when they happened. We don't live in the present as much as we keep reliving the past, as if we're trying to rewrite history using our new perspective. But can the past be rewritten with reason alone? Or is it emotion that crafts the script, reshapes it, and directs it on the stage of regret? Nietzsche speaks of the burden of the eternal recurrence, that philosophical idea that asks, what if you had to live your life again and again, in every detail, with every decision and every regret, forever? Would you think about your choices the same way? Or is it our fear of repetition that makes us cling to the past, as if it's our last chance to understand what happened? Maybe we're not really seeking to understand the past, but to justify it. We search for reasons that make mistakes seem acceptable, poor decisions seem logical, and the tragedies we caused seem like written destiny. But what is the difference between fate and choice? Are our decisions true expressions of freedom, or are they, as Sartre claimed, man's curse, that he's condemned to choose without ever possessing certainty? And because we lacked certainty, we now judge ourselves as if we had it all along. Then comes the question, is sorrow over the past a moral emotion? Is it a silent confession of guilt? Or is it just another form of attachment to an ideal version of ourselves that never came to be? Plato, in his dialogues, tells us that the soul carries within it ancient memories that cannot be erased, even if we are no longer consciously aware of them. So do we grieve because memory fails us, or because it is too faithful? Is nostalgia a form of resistance to the present? Or is the present only bearable when compared to the past, offering a false sense of safety? Baudelaire once said, "Memories are like ghosts. They don't come when we call them. They appear when we wish they wouldn't." But why do we sometimes summon them ourselves? Aren't there moments when we deliberately drown in old memories, replaying them as if punishing ourselves? Are we victims of our memories, or their executioners? What do we truly lose when we make mistakes? Do we lose the thing itself? Or do we lose the trust we once had in ourselves? Or is the greatest loss that which can't be named, something we feel deeply yet can't quite grasp, like a pain that moves silently through us? Why do some people cry when they remember an old event? Not just because it hurt, but because it brings back a feeling they've long lost, or a moment that once meant something and no longer exists. And that brings up another question. Do we regret because we lost something, or because we never valued it while we had it? And if we didn't value it then, do we even have the right to mourn it now? Or is regret just a delayed form of justice we impose upon ourselves? Sometimes we believe the past could have been different, if only we had spoken differently, acted more wisely, loved less, or hated less. But are these what-ifs expressions of regret, or fear? Fear that the same mistake will happen again, or fear that it won't, and we'll lose the feeling that defined that moment, even if it was painful. And every time we try to close a chapter, we realize memory doesn't fold like paper. So are we truly alive in the present? Or does a large part of us still live back there, in a time that has passed, but refuses to pass? Perhaps we don't regret because we made mistakes, but because we never truly learned how to forgive ourselves. And maybe we don't grieve because the past was cruel, but because it was beautiful, and we only noticed its beauty when it was already too late. But in the end, two questions remain. Questions that no one can answer but you. Are you angry at the past, or at the version of yourself who lived it? And if time were to rewind, would you fix what once was, or would you simply create new mistakes to regret later? Share your reflections with me. Perhaps in your words we might find a way out of the maze of time.